Okay, if you saw my best of March 2017 video, then you'll know that I thought March was an amazing month for movies. I loved practically all the movies that came out. Well, at least 5 or 6 of them I really enjoyed. And there's 4 of those 11 movies I saw that are currently in my top 10 right now. And in fact, there are only 2 movies I saw in March that I think are worthy of a bottom list. So I'm only going to talk about 2 bad movies for March. And even then, these are pretty meh movies. These both got 2 stars. So they could have been a whole lot worse. So even my worst of list for March isn't even that bad. So obviously you will not be seeing Beauty and the Beast or Logan or Life or Kong Skull Island, which a lot of people were disappointed with. You're not going to see any of those movies in my bottom. In fact, those are my top 4. But of course there are movies I haven't seen, and I listed off a whole bunch in my best of list. Well, there are 3 movies that I just learned about not too long ago that could have made my bottom list if I had seen them, because they do look terrible. Or at least the trailer makes them look really bad. I haven't seen The Institute, and I might not even bother with it because I just recently knew about it just because James Franco is in it. I watched the trailer and it looks... Lavender, which I think is already on Netflix. It came out in March in theaters and it's on Netflix now. That's not a good sign, is it? At least I think it's on Netflix. It looked like it. And Devil in the Dark, which I probably won't bother with that movie either because I just watched a trailer because it just popped up one time and I'm like, what the hell? And then as I was looking up movies that came out in March, I realized that this came out in March too. So I'm like, oh, I might see it, I might not. It depends. My number 2 is Chips. It's very unfunny, very bland, very generic buddy cop movie, action comedy, everything you'd expect. The raunchiness, while it does make sense for the movie and is important to some of the plot points in the film, even the raunchiness isn't over the top enough, and it just feels completely safe and generic, and so most of it was just completely unfunny. There are things I can appreciate in this movie. The action, the chase scenes, they were actually done well. I liked the villain in the movie. I actually liked the villain and was rooting for him more than I was the heroes of the film. So I think they handled the villain really well. And Michael Pena and Dax Shepard, I think they did the best they could with the characters, and they were playing different roles than I expect them to. And I think the roles were even supposed to be ironic as well, but it just never came off as funny. And even though these two have chemistry together, they just didn't do good enough for me to actually laugh a lot during this movie. In fact, I laughed maybe 2 times, and I can't even remember the jokes that I laughed at. And of course, the worst film of March 2017 for me is another 2-star movie, so it's not even going to be a contender for worst of the year. Neither of these 2 films are going to be contenders of worst of the year due to their 2-star status. My number 1 worst of March 2017, The Shack. Again, this is another movie, just like many 2-star movies, I have something I could really appreciate in those movies. For The Shack, I do understand that it is less of a Christian film and more of a spiritual film, trying to encompass more religions into it. And that's something in religious films I don't see quite often, especially big movie releases. They try to encompass other religions and try to meld it into one different thing. They tried to diversify this movie and try to say, hey, it's okay, and try to speak out to other people of different religions and try to connect with them as well instead of just strictly Christians. That is definitely something I can really appreciate, and it definitely feels like it's not trying to push a religion onto someone. I thought the actor that played Jesus was really good. I thought Octavia Spencer did really good. Tim McGrath, or is it Tim McGraw or Tim McGrath? One of the country singers. He was good in the movie as well. Unfortunately, everyone else was pretty bad. Now, I do like Sam Worthington. I've liked some of the roles he's played. I think if given the right material, he is really good. Unfortunately, in this movie, He was good sometimes and just really plain bad the other times. Whenever he was supposed to be angry and sort of depressed, he was good. Whenever he had to cry in the movie, he was bad, which sounds really weird. I like some of the ideas and I like some of the concepts in this movie. They just go about it and execute it in a really slow fashion, almost a way where it feels like it's losing focus because all the lessons and the things that he's learning while he's in the shack are really long-winded and it takes way too long to get to the point. And the overall message of forgiving a serial killer for killing their children, that's something really hard to grasp. Again, I appreciate some of the concepts of this movie. I think if done right, this could be a good movie. I feel that this may be one of those things where the book is really good. Like, I feel the book is good, but the adaptation is just a very poor execution of the book. And I can't deny that every CGI thing in this movie, while it's trying to be a little bit more fantastic and trying to be more fantasy, just comes off as really cartoony and really hard to look at. And it definitely borrows a lot of things from other movies that are way better than it. So yeah, The Shack is easily the worst film I've seen so far in March, but I really haven't seen anything really bad. I haven't seen anything worthy of some of the worst things of the year. And so in that sense, March was a really damn good month. So, what were the worst films you saw in March 2017? Did you see either of those films? Are they your worst? Go ahead and comment below. And if you like this countdown and you want to see more, please subscribe and check out my countdowns or movie reviews of 2015, 2016, or 2017. As always, this is Bruce Gifford, and this was Just My Opinion.